Born Francis Scott Fitzgerald on September 24th, 1896 in St. Paul, Minnesota, F. Scott Fitzgerald and his seminal work, The Great Gatsby, are etched into cultural and literary history. Fitzgerald's mother, Molly McQuillan, came from a wealthy Irish family. She married Edward Fitzgerald, who initially appeared to be a man of promising business potential. However, Edward proved to be remarkably unsuccessful, cycling through various failed ventures that plunged the family into financial instability. They relied heavily on Molly's inheritance to sustain their household, which created significant tension in their marriage. This dynamic, an ambitious yet faltering man depending on a wealthier partner, is reflected in the tensions between Jay Gatsby and Daisy Buchanan in The Great Gatsby. Molly believed her son was destined for greatness, burdening him with immense pressure to achieve the success that had eluded his father. This relentless expectation strained their relationship as Fitzgerald grappled with feelings of inadequacy and failure. Themes of aspiration, disillusionment, and familial pressure permeate his works, particularly in his portrayal of characters striving for success in a society that often denies them. In 1913, Fitzgerald enrolled at Princeton University. While his academic performance was lackluster, he excelled in the university's literary circles, pouring his energy into writing plays, stories, and poetry. His commitment to his craft, however, left little time for his studies, and he ultimately left Princeton without graduating. When the United States entered World War I in 1917, Fitzgerald enlisted in the Army, fearing he might die in combat before achieving literary success. While stationed at Camp Sheridan in Alabama, he met Zelda Sayre, the spirited and ambitious daughter of an Alabama Supreme Court justice. The war ended before Fitzgerald was deployed, but his time in uniform influenced his later works, including The Beautiful and Damned. Before Zelda, however, there was Ginevra King, a wealthy Chicago socialite widely regarded as the inspiration for Daisy Buchanan. Their romance began in 1915 and ended due to the stark social divide between them. Fitzgerald's modest financial background was unacceptable to King's affluent family, and their relationship was cut short. This heartbreak deeply affected him, and his lingering feelings for Ginevra echoed through his writing. The doomed love between Gatsby and Daisy mirrors the barriers Fitzgerald faced with Ginevra, making the personal roots of his fiction unmistakable. Fitzgerald's relationship with Zelda began in 1918 and quickly became both a source of inspiration and turmoil. Zelda's initial hesitation to marry him stemmed from his lack of financial stability, motivating Fitzgerald to redouble his efforts to achieve literary success. In 1920, his first novel, This Side of Paradise, was published, catapulting him to fame and securing the wealth necessary to win Zelda's hand in marriage. Their marriage was a whirlwind of glamour and chaos. Often seen at the most prominent parties, the Fitzgeralds epitomized the Jazz Age's hedonistic spirit. However, their lavish lifestyle came at a cost. To support their spending, Fitzgerald turned to writing short stories for popular magazines. These stories, often light and superficial, paid well but diminished his reputation as a serious artist. The tension between commercial success and artistic integrity became a recurring struggle in his career. In 1925, Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby. The novel marked a departure from his earlier work, both in tone and complexity. Set against the backdrop of Prohibition-era decadence, it delved into themes of ambition, love, and the emptiness of the American dream. While some critics praised its style and insight, the novel failed commercially. Its deeper messages, an indictment of the hollowness of materialism and the futility of chasing an idealized past, were largely overlooked by a public more interested in the surface glitz of the Jazz Age. By the late 1920s, the Fitzgeralds' charmed life began to unravel. Fitzgerald struggled with alcoholism, and Zelda's mental health deteriorated, leading to her institutionalization for schizophrenia in the early 1930s. Financially strained and emotionally drained, Fitzgerald attempted to revive his career in Hollywood, writing screenplays. Despite some moderate successes, he never regained the literary prominence he had enjoyed in the 1920s. On December 21, 1940, Fitzgerald died of a heart attack at the age of 44, leaving behind a legacy that was, at the time, largely forgotten. He died believing himself a failure, unaware that The Great Gatsby would later be hailed as one of the greatest novels of the 20th century.